Welcome to Yeukai Business Show, UK's premier business show where we feature business thought leaders, high achievers, and industry experts. Today's episode is brought to you by World Outsourcing Solutions Limited, a company that specializes in helping executive business owners with virtual assistant services and business growth systems. Here's your host.
Hello everyone and welcome to the show. It's Trevor with you here today, and I'm joined by our guest Ted Janusz. Now, before I introduce Ted, I'm curious to know, have you ever wondered about writing the book? Is it part of your future plans? Well, maybe it should be if you've not thought that way already. Ted's an international keynote speaker and a certified visual presenter, and he helps entrepreneurs market and brand themselves by helping them write and publish books on their expertise. He's also an author himself of the book SuperPower Marketing and Branding for Professional Speakers and Trainers. So welcome, Ted Janusz.
Thank you, Trevor. It's such a pleasure to be here.
No, it's great. It's great. Lots that we can dig into. I'm going to enjoy this chat, I know. And everyone listening, hopefully, is going to take a lot from it. Hopefully there is a picked up already. I believe everyone has a book within them. Whether they get to the point of it coming out is down to a lot of different things, beliefs as much as anything else. But hopefully you'll be able to help them get inspired and think, well, actually, maybe I can. Ted says I can, so why can't I? So
right.
But before we jump into that, maybe just share a little bit about your story as an entrepreneur and how you've got to where you are today.
Sure. Well, I'm primarily a workshop presenter. I've given over 1,100 workshops in 49 of the 50 United States, across Canada, from Halifax to Vancouver, Puerto Rico, Mexico, and especially Australia. And if you haven't been to Australia, I highly suggest you go there.
Okay, yeah, that's cool. So how did you get into the workshop side of it then? Have you always wanted to be an entrepreneur?
Yeah, I've always had like an entrepreneurial spirit. And I think one of the challenges that entrepreneurs have, Trevor, is to distinguish themselves from their competitors.
Yeah.
And one of the best ways to do that is to establish yourself as an expert. And one of the best ways to establish yourself as an expert is to write a book. Now, of course, I said that, and we were having a discussion earlier, Trevor, and we were thinking about, oh, gee, that is just so intimidating. I mentioned my first book, when I wrote it, was a rather involved process. In order to get a decent price on the book, I had to order 2,000 copies. They came on a pallet. I had to store them in my basement, attic, and garage, my neighbor's basement, attic, and garage. They got moldy. You don't have to do that anymore. Not at all. All you need to do is to write your book. And I mentioned to Trevor that Ernest Hemingway said, write drunk, edit sober. Well, maybe not exactly that, but don't self-correct as you're writing. You take that Microsoft Word document and you upload it to Kindle Direct Publishing, and they'll turn it into a book or an eBook for you. And now you're a published author. You are an authority. You are the trusted member of the community. It's that easy.
Okay. Yeah, I like where you said, so you write your book. It's just in a few words. It was like, and everyone's sweating, thinking, "Yeah, that's the effort, isn't it? That's the bit." But what would be maybe some of the guidelines for people listening, thinking, "What would I put in a book? How could I communicate my expertise?"
Right.
Why would anyone want to read about me or what I do? Those sort of things.
Well, of course, people aren't interested in you. They're interested in what they can learn from you.
Yeah.
In fact, we were talking earlier that if you're writing a nonfiction business type book, it's highly unlikely you'll have the success of the Harry Potter series. So don't write the book with the intention of that you're going to become fabulously rich. But the real reason to do it is, once again, establish yourself as a credible authority on your topic. Now, what you do very subtly, as you write the book, you talk about how you've been able to help other people. What difference have you made in their lives? And the reason we do that, the reason even we tell stories, is because people will see themselves in the stories. And they'll say, well, if Trevor helped this person, I'll bet he could help me. Let me give Trevor a call. So write the book with that in mind, because people are thinking how you can benefit them. They aren't necessarily interested in your life story or my life story. They're interested in what benefit you can bring them. So keep that in mind. Show them how you've been able to help other people, and they'll relate to that.
Okay. Yeah. So is there like a magic 200 pages, 150 pages, 300 pages? Is there a good, what's a good length and a pamphlet, really, I suppose?
Well, that's a very interesting question, Trevor, because here in the States, Microsoft did a survey recently, and they found that the average attention span of a goldfish is now longer than an average adult. I don't know how you measure the attention span of a goldfish, but Microsoft is pretty smart. A goldfish can focus for 9 seconds. The average human can only focus for 8. So it's better to keep things short and to chunk the information. So I do this exercise in my workshops where I ask people to write down a random 9-digit number. Any 9 numbers will do. And then I ask someone, well, would you be able to recall that number next week? And they say no. And I say, oh, you could. I couldn't, but you could. Okay. But I'm going to give you a little tip, a little trick. After the 3rd digit and the 5th digit, put in a hyphen, put in a dash. Now what do you have? Well, here in the States, that would become a social security number or a phone number. We've gone from 9 pieces of information down to just 3. We've chunked the information. See, a confused mind never learns. A confused mind never buys. So take your information and put it in bite-sized chunks. That's, for instance, why we have the 7 habits of highly effective people, not some of the habits of highly effective people. So keep it short, but then chunk the information because of people's short attention spans.
Okay, that's a really good tip. Yeah. Probably because I hadn't thought of it like that. I think it's a really good tip. But yeah, there's a lot of sense in that. I always try and avoid web pages that have just masses and masses.
Oh, yes. We just don't have the patience.
No.
And Trevor, I can't, when I have a question, I go to Google and I want to see, boom, there's the answer. Here's the 10 tips.
Yeah.
I don't want to read a 300-page book.
Yeah.
I just don't have the patience for that anymore.
Yeah.
So
I guess.
I'm sorry, I get excited here, Trevor. But if people feel intimidated about the idea of writing an ebook or a book, here's what to do. Go to LinkedIn. Do you have a LinkedIn profile, Trevor?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. Some people put up their resume and never go back. But if you go to the homepage, right at the top, in the middle, there's a link that says write an article. Click that link. You'll get a 3-part template. At the top, it's looking for an image. And one of the sites I go to get images royalty-free is pixabay.com. Have you ever used that site?
Yes.
Trevor?
Yeah.
Pixabay? Okay. Because what happened once was I went to my P.O. box and I had a letter from Getty Images. It was a bill for $1,000 because, unbeknownst to me, my webmaster had lifted one of their images off the internet. So don't do that, okay? So go to Pixabay, or there's sites like that, but that one's my favorite. It's a search engine. You type in whatever your topic is, and they'll have pictures there from amateur photographers. Now, just because they're amateur doesn't mean they're not good.
Yeah.
Because our smartphones, even the cameras on our smartphones are so advanced. So you can use these pictures free of charge. Now, you can give a contribution, you can give an attribution. I at least like the picture, okay? So you put that picture at the top, and then in the middle, it's asking for a headline. Now, Trevor, you said you speak on leadership, right? You have personal leadership. So what might be a typical question a participant in one of your classes would ask you?
I suppose, what's the top leadership tip that I need to be aware of to lead my team better?
Okay. You just got the title for your article. There it is.
Okay.
And then the third part is the body copy. 500 words or less. Remember, people have that short attention span. You got the article. All you need to do, one final thing though, you just have to hit publish in the upper right corner. But now I'm very particular as to who my friends are on Facebook. For instance, if I get a request from a half-naked female, I know I shouldn't go there. Yep. But on LinkedIn, it's just business. I never know when I could help you or you could help me. So I always accept invitations to be a connection on LinkedIn. I have 1,200 of them, and I've never done anything. But the nice thing is, Trevor, is once I hit that publish button, that article goes out to all of my connections. And not only that, I can then use it on all my other social media sites. I can use it on my website. It can become my blog. It's absolutely free. It's fast, easy to do. And the reason for doing that is if somebody, for instance, in your case, Trevor, they do a search on Google for the top leadership tip. Well, Google has to go out and find some credible information. LinkedIn is one of the sites they go to. There's a good chance that pull that article back, you could end up getting business from it.
Yeah.
Okay, because once again, people want to do business with authorities. They'll read your article, they'll be so impressed, they'll go, "Oh, we got to give Trevor a call." So you could do that as well. It's free, it's simple, it's easy.
Yeah.
Everybody should at least do that. If you can't write an ebook or a book, at least write an article. Get started writing an article by going to LinkedIn.
Yeah. There's a lot of wisdom in that. Like, everybody has something to say, don't they?
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Whether everyone else wants to read it is maybe open to interpretation.
Well, I'm assuming that the majority of your listeners are experts. They're just maybe too afraid to get their expertise out there, or realize, or they think just because I know it, that everybody else knows it. But that's not true.
Yeah,
that's not true.
Yeah, and also the other kind of myth is I need a lot of money in order to write a book to get it published.
Oh no,
and as you covered, it's
no. Like I said, you just upload your Microsoft Word document to Kindle Direct Publishing. When you're finally done, then that becomes one of the titles on Amazon. I mean, how many hundreds of millions of people go to Amazon to find ebooks and books to read? And your title could be among them. Now, we mentioned earlier, I was talking with Trevor, and he said, it can be intimidating to sit down to write your book and you see a blank piece of paper and you go, ugh, and you write one sentence. And again, you don't listen to Ernest Hemingway, you start correcting your grammar, your punctuation. Here's another tip for you. If you give presentations, have somebody audio or video record your presentation, upload it to a site called rev.com. Within a few hours, they'll send your presentation back as a transcript. And I don't know about you, but it's so much easier to edit than it is to write. Love to edit. I don't like to write. Yeah. Okay. So for my book, SuperPower Marketing and Branding for Professional Speakers and Trainers, the way this came about was I was giving a presentation to an association, and one of the members was kind enough to video record it for me. She sent me the video. I just uploaded the video to rev.com. They turned it into an 11,000 word document. That 11,000 words I didn't have to write. 80% of the work of creating this book was already done. I just had to go in and edit and add the images and a few things like that. Yeah. It was all done. The only thing, and this is a pet peeve of mine, I was discussing this with Trevor, was it's okay to self-publish the book, but don't let the cover look like it was self-published because we judge a book by its cover. Yeah. But again, this doesn't have to be expensive. So I went to another site called Fiverr, Fiverr.com. And I found this fantastic artist by the name of eBook Cover _expert. eBook Cover _expert. He created the cover to my ebook for $5. Now, I don't know about you, but this does not look like I designed the cover. This does not look like a self-published book.
Yeah.
And so that made all the difference. So this book, other than the fee I paid Rev, this book cost me $5 to publish. And now it gives you the opportunity to be on the Yeukai Business Show because you look like an expert.
Absolutely.
Now, like you were saying, Trevor, all this information is in your heart.
Yeah.
But once you write the book, then people believe you're the authority.
Yeah. It's also a good way, like it opens doors in the sense of your book will get to places that you are.
Oh yeah, exactly. Right. You have no idea who you might help.
Yeah.
Like I said, use this as a subtle marketing tool. Okay. Because you want to portray yourself as an expert who's helped other people and you want people to read it and go, oh, I've got to call Trevor. I mean, so keep that in mind, but you're not selling yourself. You're just showing how you've helped other people.
Yeah. Yeah. So is there any other, like you mentioned, uploading it to Kindle, is that kind of the only route to go for an ebook side of things?
I believe there's also Barnes and Noble. I hadn't gone there because, of course, Amazon is the 800-pound gorilla.
Yeah.
And what I want to do in this particular interview is just keep things simple for people so it doesn't seem so overwhelming. These are things that you can start to do today. To write the article, to write your manuscript in Microsoft Word, upload it to Kindle Direct Publishing, or have somebody record your presentation, upload that to Rev, and get that document back that you can send up to Kindle Direct Publishing. Just get started. You would be amazed at the results. Yeah. Don't have this huge mental block that it's just so hard. because I mean, to tell you the truth, I even did this morning. I have updated my ebook and my book several times. It's like, oh, I need to put something else in there, So it can be a dynamic thing, but just get started. Just get started, because like Trevor said, you have no idea. I mean, look, I'm talking to somebody halfway across the world as a result of writing this book.
Yeah. I also like the way you put it with regards to, like, a lot of people will do presentations, will do webinars, or probably don't realize how much they speak, which can be captured. And then, if you said, okay, to write a book, you need to write 11,000 words to start with and then tweak it and, tidy it up. It's like, that's the first hurdle, isn't it? But if you've been speaking for an hour a couple of times or something like that, you've got a fair bit of content that you then just kind of mold into something that's a little bit more readable from a book side of things. So, I think
that's right, Trevor, because I got those 11,000 words from an hour presentation.
Yeah.
And the nice thing about it is it's conversational. It's like this.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, well, of course, I'm prejudiced because I'm part of it here, but I think a conversation is just so much more interesting than somebody writing like an English teacher. So formal, it's like, I think that's probably why only like 15% of books ever get read, because somebody starts and they go, I got to go out and cut the grass or something like that. So you want to, I told Trevor, a key thing to keep in mind besides, write drunk, edit sober, not really, is to be a good date for the reader, which means if you're not having a blast writing it, the person reading it isn't enjoying it either, and they probably won't. I mean, when I was editing the transcript for this, I was just like on a high. That's where you want to be, because if you're enjoying it, they're going to enjoy it. They're going to read the book and they're going to benefit from it.
Yeah. No, that's really good. So then what would be maybe the first step to promoting that? So we've put our ideas, our expertise, how we help people down in a book. We've got the electronic copy accessible for people to get. How would we, maybe just one or two things that we could do to promote the book to get the momentum going, as well as the sort of LinkedIn articles, which I guess could refer to the book? Or would you publish extracts from the book on LinkedIn and then point back to that? Or what sort of strategies have you used?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, I just published this book last month, Trevor. So I'm kind of figuring this out as we go along.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But Kindle Direct Publishing allows you to purchase author copies. So my cost for this book, if I were to purchase an author copy in American US dollars, is $2.15. So with the postage, it's just $6 American. So what I've been doing, Seth Godin talks about sneezers. Those are the people in your community who knows everybody. I'm putting copies of this book in front of sneezers. Now, I'm not telling them to read it because nobody's going to read it, okay? But I want them to look like a hero. What I'm saying is, in the spirit of Cavett was the founder of the National Speakers Association, who I belong to, and he said, let's not compete, let's just make a bigger pie. And that was his whole philosophy, and that's how he started the association. So I say, in the spirit of Cavett, so I call to one of our core values, could you please pass this book along to an aspiring trainer or speaker? So in other words, I let them look like a hero, okay? If they have a colleague who's just starting out in the business and doesn't have a whole lot of money and just wants to get started, it's such a hard thing to do. I think speaking is probably the easiest business to get in, but the hardest thing to stay in. Yeah. I want them to look like a hero. Maybe they'll read the book before they pass it along, all right? So that's so inexpensive. I just want to get it out there because you just never know, where you might make a connection. And I know for one association, they decided to make this book as part of their training. And there we go. And so they're going to be ordering dozens of copies for the people in the class. So you just, like you were saying, Trevor, you just never know. This book can go places that you can't, but you can order author copies very inexpensively. Send those out as your marketing.
Yeah. Or use them as maybe competition prizes if people respond to poll or something else.
There's so many things you can do once you've written the book.
Yeah. No, that's really good. So maybe I'm intrigued in the sense of, because you're on this journey as well, what's the biggest learning point for you in the process? Was it if I get my presentation transcribed, I've got 11,000 words which I just need to tweak? or has there been other sort of, I guess, challenges? Everyone has challenges, whether they're in business or not, don't they? So what would be one or two of the challenges that you've either got through or you're currently navigating that you'd be happy to share?
Yeah. Well, the first one was the big aha. I figured after that first book, because it was such a struggle, such a challenge to produce, I would never write another one. I thought, but then I understood that, well, obviously the world has changed. The internet has now made everything so easy.
Yeah.
And once I discovered how easy it was, like, ooh. But then I thought, well, what would be the topic? What would be the content that I would publish? And it always, my ultimate, I shouldn't probably say this, but my ultimate fantasy, Trevor, is I would like to become a best-selling author, travel around the world, give presentations, and sell my book at the back of the room. That's my ultimate goal. But the thing is, I could never figure out, well, what does Ted Janusz know that is so unique? I'm still struggling with that. Okay. So in the meantime, I did this because I filled this book with lots of no-cost and low-cost resources like the ones we just talked about to help you propel your business. So I think once you get started, then you'll see it's like, well, this was so much fun. What's going to be the next book? What's going to be the next topic that I can put out there? But it was just realizing the internet has made things so much easier than it was in the past. I had somebody ask me, well, is there a detriment to not have the book published by a major publisher? And I said, well, I don't know if you've ever gone through the process of having a book published by a major publisher, but typically you have to get an agent. You have to submit a proposal. You have to give the publisher full control. You still have to do the marketing yourself because the publisher is a publisher. They're not a marketer for the most part. And any idea how much money you would make on a book from a major publisher as the author? Any idea, Trevor?
I imagine it's a lot lower than what we'd hope it would be.
Yeah. Well, here in the States, I had a true Amazon best-selling author. Now, any speaker you talk to, every one of them claims to be an Amazon best-selling author, even if only their mother bought a copy. All right. But this particular guy is a legitimate Amazon best-selling author. From his major publisher, he gets $1.50 for a book that's 600 pages.
Wow.
Yeah. Whereas if you publish your own book, and again, these are American prices that you can transfer into euros, but let's say, a very popular price point here is $20. It may have only cost you $5 or less to produce that book. So now you have a $15 profit margin.
Yeah. And
you're not going to sell the majority of your copies on Amazon. I did a search recently under the topic of communications. There's 500,000 books under leadership, Trevor. Wow. Over 100,000 books. Yeah. But if you're offering your book at the back of the room when you're speaking or training, you have no competition. And people are going to take the book home just because they love you. Yeah. So you have a $20 book. It cost you $5 to make. Right there, $15 profit. 10 times as much as what you'd get from a major publisher.
Yeah. Yeah. It's got everyone thinking, hopefully. It's got me thinking more. Yeah.
Yeah. And good. I'm very happy to hear that, Trevor, because as a speaker or trainer, one of my favorite things would be when I would read on evaluation, somebody would say, I really liked when you talked about this. I never talked about that. But they drew the connection in their mind. I think that's really one of the benefits to listening to your podcast is somebody might come up with, mention an idea and it won't work exactly for you. But if you have an open mind, you could say, well, I could adapt this. I could adopt this. It plants a seed. So I think that's really the benefit of listening to podcasts, especially yours.
Definitely. Yeah. And it could be, like you say, one comment, which could take your thinking off in a completely different tangent. But that's actually the springboard that gets you thinking to where you want to go. And then the idea comes and that. Yeah, it's powerful, isn't it? When we focus our attention and not.
Yes.
Obviously, you can listen to podcasts while you're at the gym or whatever, but if you're really listening to something anywhere, TED Talks, YouTube, whatever, that's when you're really going to get inspired, isn't it? I think.
And then obviously you always have the opportunity to listen again.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. So is it right then that you'd been doing sort of the workshops for quite a few years then, and then out of that came I need to put it in a book? I need
Yeah.
to.
Well, what happened was my association asked me if I would teach this to new speakers. And I said, sure. And I tried to, there's a speaker by the name of Mark Sanborn. And what he tries to do is every time he gives a presentation, he likes to improve it so much that he feels like he cheated the last audience.
Yeah.
So I tried to keep that in mind, Trevor, as I was giving these presentations, keep improving it. And I thought, well, rather than just benefiting my chapter, there's probably other chapters that I could benefit. So I reached out to them, and I spoke for the Philadelphia chapter, and the people in the class went to Facebook and they just raved about the presentation. And just like you said, I thought, well, how can I reach, it's like, you almost feel like, well, doesn't everybody know this? But, apparently not,
Yeah.
So I thought, how can I reach other people that aren't members of the National Speakers Association or not in one of the chapters? Like you were saying, Trevor, this book could go anywhere.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized you need to write a book.
Yeah. No, that's really good. We do need to kind of close it off fairly soon. Although I am enjoying chatting. And I think I'm hoping that everybody listening is seriously considering the whole concept of writing a book. Because you've shown that it doesn't have to cost them much money to outlay initially. Yes, there's time and effort to get it to the point where it's tidy and interesting for people to read, but it should be an extension of who you are and what you do.
Exactly.
Shouldn't it? It's almost trying to crystallize that in X amount of pages so that people can hear you speak when you're asleep, because your message has got out there through a different medium. So yeah. No, that's really
and I agree with you, Trevor. It needs to be authentic, because a member of the class said, well, couldn't I get a ghostwriter? I said, no, it needs to be, okay, maybe you could get an editor, to tidy things up, but it needs to be your thoughts and your ideas and your philosophies and your mission. They have to see that authentic you.
Yeah.
That is key.
Yeah. We all have a flavor, don't we? That we flavor things with, where we go, when we speak, when we train, when we do workshops, or whatever our sort of avenue, vocation, business, whatever you want to put. When we show up, if we show up as our authentic selves, then
exactly, Trevor.
we add something that nobody else can.
Right.
Which is, it's powerful when you think of it, isn't it? It's also encouraging, I think. So for everybody listening, be encouraged. You have something that you can offer, you can put in book form, you can get a message.
Don't discount your knowledge and experience. That's the other takeaway.
Yeah.
There's other people who could benefit from it.
Yes. Yeah. And also I like the way you put that it's from the filter of how I've benefited and helped other people so that you can help that. It's not the, hey, everyone listen to me, I've got all this knowledge, I'm an expert. It's this is the stuff that really works because I've got raving fans, I've got people that I've helped, and social proof that says, yep, Ted knows what he's talking about, catch one of his workshops or whatever. And it really is the extending that, isn't it? That voice, that method that you're reaching certain people, not everybody, not everyone's going to read your book necessarily and be helped by it, but there's a good crowd on the planet that could really benefit from whatever it is you have to offer.
Well, what I realized, Trevor, was the information in this book, it really took me 20 years to accumulate.
Yeah. And
I wrote the book thinking, I wish somebody would have handed me this book 20 years ago.
Yeah. And I guess the hurdle that you have to overcome as well is it's not quite good enough yet.
Oh, right. That imposter syndrome.
Yeah. Yes. It's like, it needs to be a bit better before I launch it.
No, get it out there.
Yeah.
Done is better than perfect.
Yeah.
Because the book you write is always going to be better than the book I didn't write.
Absolutely. Yes. And the book you didn't write isn't going to help anyone, is it?
Nope.
Yeah. No, that's
so you're going to die with that story inside you.
Yes.
If you don't take action now.
Yeah. And then other people miss out, don't they?
Exactly. So how selfish, Trevor, if you think about it, how selfish that you just kept all that information, knowledge, wisdom, experience to yourself and did not share it with the world.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the key things to successful leadership is empowering other leaders. It's like, you don't just want to lead people that follow you, you want to lead and develop other leaders. Right. Otherwise, success stops with you, doesn't it? It really is that. You pay it forward, you pass it on, you help other people. And they'll then hopefully going to become better than what you are because you've invested in them. Then they add their flavor.
Right.
Yeah. But let's not get on that because that's another discussion, as good as it would be.
Yes, it would.
No. So just as we wrap this up, how can people, they can get your book on Amazon, I guess?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's available as an ebook and also a book. Ebooks typically should be shorter than books, like maybe 3,000 to 9,000 words. Mine is both as the ebook and the book is 10,000 words. So don't feel intimidated. You don't have to write, once again, War and Peace. 3,000 to 9,000 words. Remember, chunk the information. My first book, I got a great comment from my brother. He said, when you wrote that book, the chapters were like 2 or 3 pages long. He said, that was great because I felt like I was doing something. I read 4 chapters in a night. So it's okay. It's
Absolutely.
All right.
Yes.
And then obviously, like a novel is 60,000 words, but don't do that. Remember, you're probably writing something nonfiction, something business oriented. Just stick to the information. Basically, what you want to do is solve people's problems.
Yeah.
Think about what are the problems of your prospects and your customers and write the book from that perspective.
Yeah. Thank you for all that you shared just within
this is such a pleasure, Trevor. Sorry, it's over.
Yeah, absolutely. You should definitely come back again at some point.
I'd love to, because there's tons of other no cost and low cost ideas that we could discuss, like videos, being on podcasts.
Absolutely.
It's another great way to market your expertise.
Absolutely. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So part 2 coming up at some point. Yeah. No, that sounds really good. So also you have a website. There'll be a link below, I guess. Just briefly.
Yes, I do. It's Janusz, again, like the god, although as Trevor and I were talking about earlier, I wish I were more like him. JANUS presentations.com. And feel free to send me an email at ted@januspresentations.com. As you can tell, I'm very passionate about this. I'd love to help you.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. No, thank you for that. And you can definitely help lots of people as well. I know that for a fact. So
it's a pleasure and an honor, Trevor.
Thank you. Thanks, Ted, for sharing your expertise and also your time with us today. So,
thanks for being such a great host.
Been inspired. Thank you. So for everybody listening as well, don't let the book die in you. That's got to be one of the saddest things, I think. If you're passionate about it, don't do it if you're not. Maybe that's for the years ahead. But if you're passionate, or you're even thinking, I want to express myself in a different way, I'm going to do an ebook, then take action. Get in touch with Ted if you're really struggling, or listen to this first, get some more ideas, get your stuff transcribed, start speaking and get it recorded if you're not doing that yet. There's lots of practical steps you can take straight away that will get the ball rolling and the momentum going. And by all means, pick up a copy of Ted's book so that you can skip straight to the meaty stuff that will help you again, the things that we haven't been able to share just in our time together today. So thanks again, Ted. Appreciate that and look forward to chatting to you.
You're welcome, Trevor. Very well said. And it's been an honor and a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. That was good. And for everybody listening, we will catch you on the next episode. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for listening to Yeukai Business Show. We will be back to bring you more episodes with success stories and advice straight from the experts. Want more? Check out www.yukaibusinessshow.com. Get your free trial of our virtual assistant service today. Just visit www.worldoutsourcingsolutions.com. Quote WOS18 or send us an email at support@worldoutsourcingsolutions.com.